Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. It's week 16, and we have our Sunday games to go through after a couple Saturday games and Thursday night. And there's no major updates to the tool, but I do expect to get to more over the next couple weeks. So if you want to see what updates come out, go ahead and give a subscribe so you can follow along. But other than that, let's get into our game data. For our next game that we're covering, we have the Chargers going to Dallas, where Dallas is favored on the money line, with a spread of 1.5 and a total line of 50.5. Here's their seasonal averages, and walking through their rankings, you have the Chargers with a pretty average offense, with a scoring rate of 19, a passing rate of 13, a rushing rate of 11, and a tight end rate of 15. Defensively, it's a little better, almost top third, with a allowed scoring rate of 9, allowed passing rate of 2, allowed rushing rate of 10, and allowed tight end rate of 8. With Dallas, you have a pretty good offense, with a scoring rate of 5, a passing rate of 1, a rushing rate of 15, and a tight end rate of 20. However, defensively, they're much worse, with an allowed scoring rate of 31, allowed passing rate of 32, allowed rushing rate of 20, and allowed tight end rate of 20. For your quarterbacks, you have Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott, with Herbert averaging 17.2 fantasy points per game, and Prescott at 19.4. There's their seasonal averages, and this season, Herbert has 12 interceptions, with 1 fumble lost due to sacks, and 1 additional rushing fumble. Dak Prescott has 10 interceptions, with 1 fumble lost due to sacks. And then for their rushing share, you have Herbert at 19.3% of the rushing carry share and 25.2% of the rushing yard share. For Prescott, he gets about 12.7% of the rushing carry share and about 8.6% of the rushing yard share on his team. For your running backs, you have Omarion Hampton and Javonte Williams. Hampton averaging 14.2 fantasy points per game, and Williams about 16.1. Once again, with your averages here, and for your turnovers, you have none from Hampton this season, even though he's had a little bit of a shorter season, and Williams with 1 rushing fumble and 1 receiving fumble this season. Looking at their share, you have Hampton at 26.3% of the rushing carry share and 25.9% of the rushing yard share, which is a little small for a starter, but as I pointed out, that's because he was out for about half the season, and that's why a lot of it ended up falling onto Justin Herbert here and Kamani Vidal. For Williams, you're at 64.8% of the rushing carry share and 63.4% of the rushing yard share, with the rest of it being mixed up between a bunch of different people. For your number 1 receivers, you have Ladd McConkey and CeeDee Lamb, with McConkey averaging 11.6 fantasy points per game and CeeDee Lamb at 17.9. Here's their seasonal averages, and once again, pause the video if you want to look at that in more detail because they have no turnovers, so we'll go straight to the charts. Where you have McConkey at 24.1% of the target share and 23.4% of the receiving yard share, which makes him almost the most productive receiver, but it's very close with Keenan Allen here at 24.8% and 22.3%. CeeDee Lamb, though, gets 20.5% of the target share and 25.4% of the receiving yard share, and that's been growing over time because he was out for a little bit as well. So over time, that will most likely become the largest, but right now it's the second largest on the team. For your number 2 receivers, you have Quentin Johnson and George Pickens, with Johnson averaging 12.4 fantasy points per game, and Pickens at 18 fantasy points per game. Here's their seasonal averages, and the only turnover between the two of them comes from Johnston with 1 receiving fumble. For their share, you have Quentin Johnson at 17.4% of the target share and 17.5% of the receiving yard share. And then for Pickens, you're at 24.8% of the target share and 31.5% of the receiving yard share. And with those numbers right there, that makes Pickens the most productive receiver on Dallas. And then for your tight ends, you have Oronde Gadsden and Jake Ferguson, with Gadsden averaging 9.4 fantasy points per game and Ferguson at 12.4. There's their seasonal averages. And looking at their turnovers, you have 1 from Gadsden with 1 receiving fumble, and you have 2 over here with Ferguson with 2 receiving fumbles. For their share, you have Gadsden with 14.7% of the target share and 19.7% of the receiving yard share, and then you have Ferguson at 19.4% of the target share and 14.8% of the receiving yard share. And there's all your individual data. You have some pretty good matchups with a scoring rank of 5 here on Dallas against this allowed scoring rank of 9. This number 1 passing rank against this allowed passing rank of 2, and then this rushing rank of 15 against this allowed rushing rank of 10. So that will make it very tough for Dallas to score, even though they're very good at it, and the Chargers are just really going to have to fight on defense to make sure that they don't score. Because then, on the other side, you have the Chargers pretty much beating them in every category offensively against Dallas's defense. So it could just come down to who can outscore who, which it usually does for a Dallas game. But it does look like it works out a little better for the Chargers just because the discrepancy of this better offense against this much worse defense is much bigger than the discrepancy of this offense against this defense. So if I had to pick one team, I would lean towards the Chargers in this game. But that would just be based on the numbers. So there you are with that data. I hope you found it informational and useful. And if you did, leave a like and subscribe. And leave a comment on what else you'd want to see in the future. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you for the next game.